Welcome everybody to The Business Podcast, where I'm your host, Super Joe Pardo, and I have a ton to share with you. I actually have stuff written down here to share with all of you. Today is a huge day for the podcast, for my YouTube channel, for my brand, for the business podcast, for the business lessons on YouTube. It's just, there's so many things that are going on right now that it's hard to put into words how happy and proud I am of all the amazing work that's going in and coming out right this second here in the video form that you're watching, or if you're listening to on the podcast, on The Business Podcast, wherever podcasts are listened to. First thing I want to get out of the way, we have a new addition to our family. Dominic Conrad Pardo was born back on Monday. That's why I haven't had a chance to shave, and so a lot of things have been going on with that. In fact, he's right here in the studio with me right this second, right there. Let's see if I can get this set back up here. And it's been a blessing to have him here in the house and in our lives. I've learned so much in so little time, and he came out 10 pounds 2 ounces. So shout out to Melissa, my wife, for being able to make that happen in like 20 minutes time. It was crazy how quick that went. In other news, my book, my first business book, my fourth overall book, is coming out. It's called Sales Will Not Save Your Business. And I just got a whole bunch of copies in. You can see here Lee Cockrell of Disney World Resort. He was a former executive vice president to that awesome magical place that you guys and girls all know that I'm a huge fan of. He's written a ton of books, and I'm super proud to have him written the foreword for this book. So you can get it at superjoepardo.com/won't-save. Or sales won't. Yeah, sales won't. So superjoepardo.com/sales won't. I'll put it in the right below here. There's a ton of pages. It's way thicker than any of my previous books. There's tons of questions in it, so you can see there's lots of lines for you to write your answers and responses to. And I really want you to have open conversations with you and your team, and that's what this book is designed to get you to do. What else do I have here on my list? Baby book. Right. So why is this a huge day for the business podcast and the platform as a whole? Well, let me first start by saying that 3.5 years of doing the podcast, doing over 100 business lesson videos, it's been my honor. I've built a huge network. And also if you go to superjoepardo.com and click on the blog or click on the show notes for this podcast episode, there's a huge, long, open, honest letter that I wrote. So I'm not going to cover everything that's in the letter here in this recording. But what I want you to get out of it is podcasting and video creation is something I'm really passionate about. When I've done a lot of talks over the years about how I have made money because of my podcast, because of my platform, but not from my platform and not from my podcast. And all that is in theory going to be changing. A few months back I got this idea about how I could utilize my platform to better serve my audience in a way that enables me to display my skill set and my expertise to help business owners create, save jobs, as well as building the business for their lifestyle, not their lifestyle for their business. And so those are like three really big things that I'm really passionate about, and as well as like growing businesses and like going through the processes and tweaking and eking out every bit of profit that you possibly can in the most socially responsible way that you possibly can do it. So for me, doing these shows have been amazing because I've been able to grow my network. We've done over 330 episodes, and you may, if you've been a fan of the show, I've done a lot of different types of episodes over the years, but I want to start doing some series right? So a couple weeks ago, it's probably been like a month or two ago at this point, I did the Business Owners Anonymous episode, and it was basically a pilot episode where I had a friend of mine come on. She was supposed to be anonymous, but she's been on, I guess, on the show a bunch of times, and if you listen and you're a fan, then you know who she is and what she does and all that. But the idea is that business owners come on to solve their problems. Whatever the biggest problem that they have, we sit down in a basically a consulting session and get that problem solved in 30 minutes to an hour's time, maybe an hour and a half. I don't know. So like, it just depends on how long it takes to get that, get through that process. But my goal is to be able to help those business owners get through those issues. But by doing it in an anonymous way, it takes away that ego. It strips the ego away, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, someone's gonna hear that it's me, or they're gonna know that it's me. I don't even expect my guest, the person who I'm helping them solve an issue, to share the episode. I think that it's really important in that case for them to just be a passenger on a ride, and I think it was really interesting. So if you don't know, and I should have wrote down the episode, but go back and check that out. It's Business Owners Anonymous. It was probably about like 8 episodes ago, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes ago. So my goal here is to do a couple of episodes, or a couple of series in this show, the Business Podcast, and really it's the business platform, right? Because we're doing it on YouTube, we're doing it on podcasting, and so it's all in the same boat, really. So the first series is the Business Profiles. Business Profiles is basically going to be the same style of interview that I do now. I conduct. I haven't decided if I'm going to do them in video format. I might. I'm kind of flip-flopping on that because the tech, sometimes video recording isn't always perfect, and it's not always great to, I mean, I know you're sitting here watching this video right now, while I'm just sitting here in my chair in my studio talking to you, but I think it's really, if it's something that you're interested, if you think you'd be interested to be a part of that, watching these interviews, then let me know. Just throw a link in the comments, or tweet me at Super Joe Pardo. So there's the Business Profiles, which is the basic interviews. The Business Owners Anonymous, which I explained earlier, where I'm sneezing, watching a baby sneeze behind me, where I'm helping business owners solve a basic or complex problem in their business. The business lessons. So if you've been following me on YouTube, I have over 100 business lesson episodes where I go through a different lesson each. Well, at one point I was doing it daily, so I was doing a different business lesson every single day. And I have a ton of business lessons written down in a giant spreadsheet with over like 400 topics that I want to talk about. So I'm really looking forward to implementing those business lessons into as a series. And then the business questions, so like a Q&A session where people send me questions and I'll give out answers to the best of my knowledge or the best of my ability, or I'll bring on guests who have better ideas on very specific niche questions and things of that nature. So my goal there is to be able to have them help out the business owners with their questions and get them answers. And as I said before, my goal now is to record as many of these episodes in video format and convert them to podcasts as possible. So we'll see how that goes. Right now, I'm still only doing 1 day a week, and it's every Tuesday is the release date at 8 a.m. Eastern. Been the same way for basically 3.5 years. So the question is why am I changing the show format? Why am I adding these series to it? The main reason is because I want my show to be a driving force towards my clients, my ideal clients, in my consulting business, 234 Solutions. So in order to do that, I need to make sure that I'm highlighting my skill set, my expertise, and my offerings, which is my books and my services, consulting services, speaking services, blah, 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 all the other things that I do. And, at the same time, I'm being compensated for the people that I do have on my show. So I'm still going to be doing business profiles, as I said before, where I interview people. Same format. It's award-winning format. Speaking of award-winning, there's this, and this is awesome and all that, but realistically, my show needs to be a reflection of gaining clients for my business, right? To justify the amount of time. So each episode I do takes around 3 to 4 hours to do, but these types of episodes where I'm talking to a camera or talking into the mic take like an hour, right? So I really need to compress the amount of time that I'm working on these the content end of my business and really expand focusing them, so like hyper focusing it so that people can get a better feel for my expertise, my skill set, not just that I'm a great host and all that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm changing it now. As I said, to compensate me for the time and the effort and my word and my platform and my consistency and 3.5 years and all the other things that I wrote in that open letter. That's why I've decided to move to a format where I charge my guests to be on my show, to make it so that they have some skin in the game, and so that we also, if depending on the promotion package that they choose, we can actually promote the episode to a wide range of people through Facebook ads that I'll put together myself. To help attract more people, not just to my show and my platform, but also to my client or to my guests, to their show, to their platform, to their business, to their services, to their expertise. Like, it's a give or win-win situation here, and can only be accomplished by changing the format of the show. Now, I came up with this idea quite a few months ago because I have anywhere upwards of 100 people reaching out to me every single month to be a guest on my show, usually mostly from PR agencies, and it's awesome. When my show is purely fueled by having people on the show, it makes a lot of sense to have these people, and it makes it really easy for them to just come to me. I give them the form, they fill it out, and next thing you know, they're being a guest. But when they're on my show, they're promoting their businesses, their skill set, their expertise, their journey, and I'm all about that. Obviously, I've done over 330 episodes, mostly interview episodes. I love it. I get to meet them. I get to know about them. I get to learn from their stories and their journeys, and so do you as a listener or a viewer. But it doesn't do anything to promote my business, my skill set, my expertise, other than I know how to do a great show, apparently. So that's why the show needs to change. It needs to change for the betterment, for the amount of time that I'm spending. Now, the big question that I go a lot more in depth in that open letter. If you go to superjoepardo.com and check out the blog, in the open letter or the show notes of this podcast, in the open letter, I talk a lot more about the fact that, when I came up with this idea back in, I think it was like late October, early November, about like, hey, how can I turn my show into a profit center versus just be like, oh, well, I made a lot of money because of my show, but not from my show. When I came up with this idea, it was bounced back to me by some people that I brought the idea up to. Were like, oh, well, that's great, but like, what if these PR agencies just stop sending you people? I really hope they wouldn't do that. I'm friends with a lot of them, and I cheer them on, and I think it's awesome. I think it's great for podcasting. I think it's great for the people that I have on as guests. I think it's great for them. We get to do a lot with it. But at the same time, like I'm doing a lot of the work as well here. Putting together the show, having the audience, having the consistency, having the platform, and let me just say, with consistency, there's a lot to be said for that, because. So my book, Sales Won't Save Your Business, is getting ready to come out, and I went back to look at the past 100 shows I had been on over the last 3.5 years, and what I found was I can't reach out to a lot of those, almost 2/3 of those shows, because they just don't exist anymore. 3.5 years later, they just aren't there. So my show is, and it's going to continue to be there. So I think there's a lot to be said for that, for the expandability of the audience and the people downloading and listening, and all of you that have been so supportive over the course of all this time. So what is there to look forward to? Okay, so we have 4 different series that I'm going to be doing for the show. having more guests on the show, doing and here's another thing. If by chance, if this whole charging for my guests to be guests on the show actually turns out to be the thing that works for me and works for the platform, I definitely could see putting out more content, more episodes, and I could justify the added expense and time to do so because it becomes a profit center. It's not just an advertising thing for other people and other businesses, as well as myself. But with that said, I love putting out content. I think it's pretty obvious. Anyone that's followed me through all this journey, I've been doing blogging since 1996, which a lot of people can't say that. And I've been podcasting since 2014 with no signs of stopping. I mean, I have a conference, Mid-Atlantic Podcast Conference. You should go check that out at midatlanticpodcast.com. But anyway, so podcasting is going nowhere. YouTube videos aren't going anywhere. In fact, if you haven't checked out our son Dominic meeting Ava for the first time, or Ava meeting Dominic for the first time, go check that out. I'll leave a link below to that video. And, I have a lot more that I really want to do and I look forward to doing. And hopefully that the people that I cheer on and support, they cheer me on and support me and support this platform going forward, this award-winning platform going forward. So the big thing, though, March 2nd, get your copy of Sales Won't Save Your Business. It's on Amazon. It'll be in digital format, paperback, obviously, and audiobook by the great Al Kessel, who is my Mr. Voice at the end of this episode. Everyone, I hope you all have a awesome week. If it's not awesome, figure out how you can make it awesome. It might not be as hard as you think if you just take a step back and really give it some thought. And I'll next week I will be back with probably a business lesson episode. And I think my plan is to alternate one type of each episode every fourth week or so, but we'll see. When it comes to those business lessons, I have about 8 years worth of content if I only put out one episode a week. And I have a few other people that are going to be Business Owners Anonymous episode guests, so we can solve some business problems in the very near future. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe for more great business lesson content. And if you're listening on your podcast app of choice, hit that subscribe button. And also, doesn't matter where you're listening or where you're watching, if you could just do me a huge favor and tell somebody else that would get something out of this, that would be awesome. I really do appreciate that and all the love and support. It's been amazing, and it's just about getting started all over again.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Business Podcast featuring Super Joe Pardo. Get more business content at superjoepardo.com. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on The Business Podcast, send an email to joe@superjoepardo.com. The Business Podcast is copyrighted to 234 Solutions, LLC.